Hello everyone. This week our project is based around packaging and things that you find in your cupboards. So there are two parts. So this is part one. Part two will come later in the week, so keep tuned for that. The first thing that you're going to do, or you need to do, is you need to go into your cupboards and find some products that you can have a look at. We're going to do a simple drawing activity. Now, all the stuff that you get, my lovely can of pilchards there, all come in packages. It helps protect the product inside, but also it gives the person who's made it, the manufacturers, an opportunity to market their brand and what they're selling. So you tend to find that most packages, most products have quite bright and quite distinctive packaging, so it catches your eye when you're in the supermarket. You want to be able to catch people's eyes, so you want to sell more of them. There are all sorts of things. I mean, this is just a few bits and pieces from my kitchen, and I notice that a lot of these all seem to be round, so it's all cylinders. There's all sorts of shapes. Everyone knows this chocolate. Love this chocolate. All sorts of things that are really they look quite beautiful actually. I quite like them. So what we're going to do first is do a simple drawing activity, and then later in the week we'll move on to something new. So now I'm going to set up for my drawing. I've got a piece of paper there. You don't have to do this if you want, but the most important thing is if you're going to do a drawing, you're going to have to keep it still and not move the objects. So I'm going to choose my objects, I'm going to put them there and arrange them, and then I'll be ready to draw. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a big one. I'm going to put a big object, I'm going to put that at the back. So that can be, sort of the highest point at the back, so it's sort of properly proportioned, I suppose. Next thing, I'm going to put something else, medium things in front of it, and then the small things in front of that. Now, if I'm doing this from life, I'm going to have to leave that until I'm ready, or until I finish doing my drawing. But obviously, if you can't do that, you can always take a picture of it and then work from the photograph and take it from there. So that's how I've set up. The other thing I've done is I've actually got an angle poised lamp here, just off screen. This is the edge of it here, and that is shining onto the objects, and it's giving it an even light. You could do this in the window as well. You could use the light in the window, but you've got to try and make sure that the light doesn't really change, because if the light changes, then your drawing obviously will change. So you want to try and keep it as stable and as simple as possible. So that's how I've set mine up. I'm then going to start drawing in a minute. Right, so I'm ready to start my drawing. I've set my objects up over here. Don't worry about this bit of black paper, that's so that I'd stay in shot for you. I've got my pieces of paper. I'll just use one piece of paper. And I've got my equipment. I'm going to use a pencil first. I'm just going to do a pencil drawing. Pencil drawings are frustrating because there's lots of opportunities for you to think that you've made mistakes. When you start this drawing, you have to see it through. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make sure that I draw for at least 5 minutes. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I've got it wrong, and just stop. I'm going to work through it. You may notice I haven't got a rubber as well. I don't want to use a rubber. If you have got a rubber, you just end up doing it, rubbing it out, doing it, rubbing it out, doing it, rubbing it out, and it just takes forever. It's a waste of time. So I've got my objects there. I'm going to make sure that I am going to fill the page up with my objects. So obviously my bottle of oil here is going to be my biggest piece. It's going to go sort of here. My tin can, it's about a third of the way up, and that one is about a third as well, but a bit higher up next to it, the lime juice bottle. Yeah, so I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens. So I've got to the first part of my drawing and I finished that. That's taken me about 2 minutes, and I've basically got an idea for the outlines of the pieces. I haven't quite got it right. It's not the end of the world. My overlaps, I've done something with this bottle. I think maybe it should have been a bit wider, but I'm not going to worry too much about it now. I'm going to keep persevering with this drawing rather than just stopping. The next thing I'm going to do, I've done all the outlines very briefly. I've looked very carefully at all the bits I can see. And now I'm going to start adding a little bit more detail, but I'm going to do it gradually. I'm going to add the same amount of detail to each object as I go. So I don't get stuck in and focused in on one part. If I just got stuck in on the side of this soup can, that's all I'd do, and then I'd end up with a very lopsided drawing because I might run out of energy for that one. So I'm going to add a little bit of detail, and then I'm going to look again, a little bit more detail, and keep going. Okay, so I think I've finished. One thing that's really important when you're doing drawing is that you have to look with your eyes really, really careful. In fact, a friend of mine once said you have to listen with your eyes. It sounds a bit of a strange thing to do, but if you're listening to your eyes, or you're just thinking about what you're seeing a little bit more. I found one thing that was very obvious is if you look at the soup can. So there's my picture, there's my drawing. So if you look at things like the writing here on the soup, they've got different styles, they're different things. So when I was doing the soup, I just wrote soup, and I wrote it in my normal handwriting. As you can see, I've got my little stick on the U. If you look at that though, there's no stick on that U. So it's little things like that that will add more to your drawing, and the more carefully you do that, the better it'll be. The other thing as well that I quite liked was the way that these dots in this lime juice holder, they sort of made these little circles, and at the bottom, because it was darker around here, I made my dots a little bit darker. It sort of suggests that it's round, which I like. Also things, for example here with the writing, I can't quite see all the writing on there, and it's quite hard to read anyway. Most important thing I saw that was the sort of the lines in it, so that's what I've done with there. So yeah, so that's a pencil drawing, which is your first challenge. Second challenge is coming up now. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to do a continuous line drawing. Continuous line drawings are amazing. I love them. You don't need very much time to do them. You should be able to take about maybe 2 or 3 minutes for each one, if that. You can time yourself if you want to. Give yourself a minute and a half, 2 minutes. First thing I'm going to do though, because I want to do 2 of them so I can compare and contrast, is I'm going to have my page folded in half. I'm going to do one this side, one this side. One thing about continuous line drawings is you hold your pencil at the top, this end, not at the bottom like you want to, where you're all controlled. You hold it at the top. It's a really good one to sort of get over that idea that everything has to be perfect in your drawings. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it was perfect, I'd just take a picture of it and that'd be boring. Your drawings are much more interesting than that. So I'm going to hold my pencil at the top, and I'm going to draw my drawing again, making sure it fills the page, and I'm going to start at the top again and work my way down, but I'm only going to hold it at the top, and I'm going to make sure that I am not taking my pencil off at any point. So here we go. Oop, nearly came off then. Alright, my pencil's getting to the point now where it might be too blunt, but I can't take it off yet. I'm going to see this run through. Just some spots on the bottom of that. That was on the top. There's my horse on the side of it. and I'm finished. So there we have a simple line drawing, a continuous line drawing done to the top. Now the cool thing about doing this is that you don't have to just stick to pencils, you can use felt tips, you can use anything you want, and for this one I think I'm going to move things around slightly actually. Yeah, there we go, that's better. So again, holding it at the top, not at the bottom. I should put my lid on so I don't lose it. And I'm going to have a go at doing this. Now, felt tips are even better because they jiggle around and they get all scratchy, which is fantastic. So you end up with a different kind of line, which gives a different kind of drawing. And again, with this one, it's about embracing what your drawing implement is doing. And you can't have perfection on this one, you just can't, it's not possible. And that's what I quite like about it. So it shakes you up and out of your assumptions about what your drawing should be. I've got a nice big patch on the back now. Around to here, so I need to write some words on the side. I need to put a horse on. One thing that's really important when you're doing this is thinking about the junctions, so where your pen or your objects bump into each other. It's a really beautiful thing that you can have to think very carefully about, because if you're not careful, that's what, oh actually that was what will make your drawing look fantastic. Okay, nearly there. One last thing. All right, done. So two very different looking drawings done using continuous line drawings. Yeah, what I'd like you to do, I'd like to have a go at doing one of these first, and then I'd like you to do some of these, please, at least two. I mean, if you could split your page up into small pieces. Yeah, and if you like this and you enjoy this, I'm putting more videos up about drawing, so there'll be more techniques you can use and more ideas you can use. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I can't wait to see what you show me. I've included these pictures, so if you don't have any nice packaging, or you're not got anything that you find too interesting or anything that inspires you, you can use these instead to do your drawings from. Just pause the video at each one, and you can use them as you see fit.